Welcome to the Jay and Joe Show.
Welcome to a special holiday edition of the Jay and Dro Show. It's Labor Day weekend, and that means Jay has to put in extra hours at the JOB, making sure that store shelves are stocked with those salty snacks we all love to eat during the holiday barbecue. So, that means you guys are stuck with me for about the next half hour or so. So let's start with our news segment of the week, called Part of the Conversation. This week, I decided to go with a Nintendo-oriented news story, where one of the biggest sports games of the year, NBA 2K18, is going to release for the Switch. It's going to come with Amiibo support and the same features as the PS4 edition, which to me is amazing news. Why? Because if you have heard anything about the FIFA 18 version for the Switch, it's going to miss the single player mode called The Journey on the Switch. Which to me meant that EA wasn't taking, the Nintendo Switch seriously in terms of its third-party offerings, especially with a game as big as FIFA. I'm glad that, the 2K is taking, the Nintendo Switch, as serious as it should, and providing us with a feature-rich, edition of, a game for that, I'm gonna call it portable platform, although it is a hybrid because you can play it on the TV and things like that. My initial reaction to this news was that I finally have a reason to purchase a Nintendo Switch now. Of course you've got the great games like Zelda, you've got Mario coming out, Splatoon is also, very, very popular. But for me, those are games that I would like to experience, not portably, not out and about, not in a handheld manner. I would sit down on the couch on a nice 55-inch screen television, being able to experience it the traditional way. A game like NBA 2K18, maybe even a Madden NFL 18, those are games where I could take the Switch to the job, play it a quarter or two on my 15-minute break, then go back to work, then go on lunch, finish the game, make some moves in the franchise, improve my player in his career mode, and that's kind of how I would play. I could see myself playing NBA 2K, and I think that this is a great, this is great news for players like me that kind of like doing that, and like you, and I like the idea of playing sports games on the go. Not only that, but if other people have Switches, at the job, or maybe my friend has a Switch, and we're going out, to grab a few brews or whatever the case may be. Although if I'm grabbing a few brews, I probably won't have a game system on me. But who knows? Maybe I might, decide to turn into a huge nerd and play video games in the middle of a bar, which would be kind of weird. But you know what? It's good to have the option to, Anyway, yes, I would totally enjoy playing this, and I'm not gonna lie, this is probably as close to a system seller that Nintendo has offered thus far. This also signals, that third-party developers are taking the Switch seriously, which is great considering the huge boom in sales, the way that the gamers themselves are reacting to the hardware, how much fun everyone's having. I'm super excited to see what else gets put on the Switch. Hopefully, we'll see a full-fledged Madden, maybe next year. Hopefully a full-fledged, FIFA, next year. A game that could prosper from this is Pro Evolution Soccer, FIFA's competitor. I think if they were to come out with a Switch, edition, and it was, the full game, a lot of people, particularly, FIFA players would probably try out Pro Evolution Soccer on the Switch, and that could cause them to go ahead and go ahead and move over to that game in terms of, whenever they choose to play, soccer, on the Switch or otherwise. So I think that this bodes well for both the, Nintendo ecosystem, and for gamers that kind of, want that big third-party game, to go on Nintendo, on Nintendo platform. Now, the one thing that I am worried about is that it is locked at 30 frames per second, whereas every other game is going to be at 60 frames. I mean, I assume that is to allow for other features to be added in the game, and they didn't want to spend so many resources on the actual gameplay. The Switch is the far less a powerful machine, so hopefully that's not going to hinder gameplay where we're gonna see we're just gonna see the game not played as fluid as you would on an Xbox or a PlayStation. But we'll see. The game comes out this month, and I'm super excited for that. But that is it for part of the conversation. Let's go ahead and move on to our topic of the week, and let me cue the music. Alright, our topic of the week for this week are the games that are coming out in September. And this month starts off September 5th with Knack 2. It wasn't the most critically acclaimed video game, with a 54 score, Knack 1 gaining a 54 score on Metacritic back in 2013. But the community wanted a sequel. And guess what? By God, Sony gave us the sequel. Did we need it? Probably not. Did we want it? Absolutely. And Sony delivered. So, for those of you that, clamored for Knack 2, the action-adventure game, well, you got it. So, hopefully you guys spend that money and, let Sony know that they should listen to the community more often. Then we move on to Friday, September 6th, which will forever be known as Destiny 2 Day. That is the day that our good friend Jay is going to get his PlayStation 4 Pro bundle and be backing the gaming scene. He's super excited. I'm excited for him. It's one of the biggest releases of the year. You guys have already known what we feel about the game. Mike's got it preloaded. Mike from the group has it preloaded on his Xbox. I know TJ from the group has it preloaded on his Xbox. Sorry, Mike has a PlayStation 4, not an Xbox. TJ is the Xbox player. I have yet to buy it because I don't know whether or not I want to purchase it on the Xbox, play it on the Xbox One X when I get it, or if I want to go PS4. I will make my decision today. It will be preloaded. I am super hype about Destiny 2. Might be the game of the year if Shadow of War doesn't deliver like I think it will. Now let's move on. September 12th, NASCAR Heat 2. Haven't played a NASCAR game in, I don't know, 10 years maybe. I don't know why they're still making NASCAR games. But hopefully this is, if you like racing games and particularly enjoy NASCAR, hopefully this tickles your fancy. It's out September 12th on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. So hopefully you enjoy that. On the same day, Pro Evolution Soccer 2018. That's definitely the release of that particular week. That's out on PS4, Xbox One, PS3, 360, and PC. No Switch on there. I think that's a mistake. They should have released it on the Switch. Full features. Hopefully they do that for 2019. September 14th, a super, a very cool, RPG for the PC, Divinity Original Sin 2, drops. Very cool features. Has a dope, single screen, cooperative play where it splits the screen and both of you guys are, and both players are able to play the game, play the RPG. It is a turn-based RPG, so I'm not, very, keen to RPGs like that. So those of you that do enjoy the turn-based RPG and have a PC to play with. That seems like a dope option. On September 14th, September 15th, we've got some pretty dope games coming out. Dishonored, Death of the Outsider on the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. That is actually a expansion similar to the Uncharted expansion that we saw last month from Naughty Dog, which is pretty cool. You're going to play as a different assassin. This time it's going to be a female. The Dishonored game didn't have, a lot of people didn't like the Dishonored game that came out earlier, this generation. But a lot of people seem to like the expansions. So hopefully, if you're a fan of the Dishonored world, you should definitely check that out. Now, NBA Live 18 is coming out. Super interesting basketball game for the PS4 and Xbox One. Graphically, it's looking pretty good. It definitely looks like it can entice some people. The controls are still stick-based, which is dumb, in my opinion. But if anybody wants to try something different from the NBA 2K series, NBA Live 18 is there for y'all too. NHL 18, super dope hockey game, out for the PS4 and Xbox One. I really wish this one was also a Switch game, because I would love to play some hockey on the go, or at work during breaks, stuff like that. And then we've got arguably one of the most polarizing games to come out in the next month or so is Metroid: Samus Returns for the 3DS. A lot of people loved the fact that Metroid the Samus is coming back for Nintendo. They're making that Metroid push that everybody wanted, but they put it on a 3DS. And those people that went from a 3DS to a Switch don't want to go back just to experience Metroid. So I'm interested to see how this game sells. Will Nintendo convince consumers to go back to the 3DS to experience the Metroid game? Or will consumers say, no, put this on the Switch and you'll get your money. If not, you're not gonna get a cent out of me. Let's see what happens. I think the gamers will go back to the 3DS, play the Metroid game, and say, this is a damn good game, but I wish it was on Nintendo Switch. Then, September 19th, we've got Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, on the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. I have heard nothing but bad things about this game. And that's unfortunate, because Marvel vs. Capcom is a beloved series amongst fighting fans. So the fact that, I haven't heard anything really too good or glowing reviews regarding this game, I might stay away from that until I see some updates or two, to make sure that the game mechanics look good and graphically it looks good as well. It looks like the story doesn't make sense either, which is really, really disappointing. So that one, I think, is probably going to be the first game where I'm like, let's stay away from that one for a little bit. Wait till the holiday season and get that one on sale. NBA 2K18 also drops on September 19th for the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Again, I'm super excited about that game. Very close to saying, you know what, I'm going to spend the $300 to play this on the Switch. Probably not, though. Because the Xbox One X is around the corner, and your boy has to save money for that. September 22nd, Pokemon Gold and Silver for the 3DS. Pokemon fans got to be super excited about experiencing Gold and Silver again. Pokken Tournament Deluxe for the Switch. That should be a super cool game. I played it a little bit on the Wii U, and it was really interesting. I'd like to see how it performs on the Switch. That's the closest thing that you're gonna get to a Super Smash Brothers on the Switch at the moment. So, that of course is the game that is a blend between Tekken and Pokemon. So, that should be pretty cool. I'd like to see how it performs on the Switch. Then we have Project Cars 2 for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Project Cars 1 didn't interest me. Nor did it interest a lot of other people in the gaming community. But, they decided to make a second one. not very excited about that one at all. But hey, look, if you want a racer that isn't NASCAR Heat 2 or Gran Turismo or Forza, then Project Cars is probably the one you want to go with. We've got September 26th, which is Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony for the PS4 and Vita. That is the biggest release of that week for sure. Those of you that have played Danganronpa on the Vita will get a third helping of that amazing RPG. Then we come to arguably one of the most interesting weeks in September, where we've got Cuphead versus FIFA 18 versus Total War Warhammer to see which game reigns supreme within this week. Of course, FIFA 18 is a worldwide phenomenon, so that's probably gonna win. I'd like to see how the Switch edition sells, considering you're not going to get the single player mode that you normally will on your PS4, Xbox One, PS3, Xbox 360, and PC. But I still say that game sells very, very well. The Switch numbers are what interest me there. Of course, you've got Total War Warhammer 2, very, very popular game for the PC, and then of course you've got Cuphead, which is a game that was strictly going to be just boss battles, and then they decided to add a single player to the game. It feels like we've seen this game 3 or 4 years in a row at E3 or a PAX or a Gamescom or a Tokyo Game Show or Paris Games Week, and we're finally getting a release date for this game. This is a huge title for Microsoft, and hopefully this pays off and they get a first party game that actually lives up to the hype. The last couple of first party games haven't lived up to the hype. Halo really didn't. Gears of War hit on all cylinders. Forza has, of course. Then you've got Quantum Break, which didn't do what it was supposed to. And then, it was another one that completely slipped my mind, but I will probably remember before the end of the show. That was from the people that made Metroid, and that game came out for $40 and was complete garbage, which sucks too. And then actually that's it. That ends September for new game releases. Now there is going to be a second closed beta, of course, for Call of Duty World War II, and that is actually going to be the first weekend of September, which is going on right now. That should be fun for anybody who likes, the Call of Duty brand. But some of the games here that I'm looking forward to, of course, Destiny 2 on September 6th. That's going to be the game that's probably going to engulf most of the Square Gamers Facebook group. So if you're a Destiny fan and aren't in the group, definitely join there. We've got a lot of the guys playing that. NBA Live 18, I might play it on the Xbox just because you get the free trial using EA All Access, which should be dope. I'm definitely staying away from Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, even though it does seem pretty cool and you do get to play as Guardians of the Galaxy on there. If I do decide to purchase a Switch, Pokken Tournament is definitely one that I'm going to look into. But I think Cuphead is going to be is the one that's going to interest me the most. Hopefully, number one, the game performs as good as it looks, and it kind of gives Microsoft hope that their IP from here on out are really going to perform the way that they should. And I want to see if the consumer buys it, man. I think that we're definitely tired of seeing it at the game shows and want to get our hands on it. But has the game been shown off too much? Has have we reached a level of fatigue as a consumer that we're just not going to buy it, or we're going to forget about it? It's not a it doesn't go up against, too much. Like I said, Destiny's probably going to engulf the whole month in terms of sales, but I mean, it's really, there's really nothing near it, at least in the month of September, that, like if you had money for 2 games and you had both consoles, or you only had one, Destiny 2 and Cuphead, not a bad choice. I mean, you don't see too many AAA titles that you'd rather spend your money on. This is more of, your big sports titles coming out. So, I think this is a good time for Cuphead to come out. It's before October, before the big hitters come. And it's a completely different game than Destiny. So, if you're looking for a palate cleanser and own an Xbox One, then I could see people purchasing a Cuphead alongside Destiny. So, looking forward to that. Very happy that it's coming out, and very interested that it's coming out as well. And that is it for this week's podcast. Very short. Wanted to keep it short and sweet. It is a holiday, so I definitely want to go and get to my barbecue, and allow you guys to get to yours. So thanks for listening. And next week the dynamic duo will be back and better than ever. Enjoy the rest of the holiday, and listen to us next week as we give our impressions on a full weekend of squatting up playing Destiny 2. It's going to be lit. Peace.